My name is Cynthia Santos, Senior Solution Architect here in N2W. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to do an AMI upgrade of your N2W server that is deployed in Azure. We're going to go over the prerequisites, how to back up your server, what do you need to do and check before you do the upgrade. We're going to do the upgrade and then how to verify that in fact this upgrade is successful. So this is a very extensive video, but it has a lot of detail and is going to be very easy to follow along all of the different steps that you need to perform to upgrade your N2W server. So let's go ahead and get started. First, I want to show you my N2W server. This is currently in version 4.22. You can check what version you have by going to the top right-hand side, question mark, then about, and this is going to be the version. You can also verify the AMI type by going to your Azure portal, and then you can see the source image details, and it has the version as well. This two should match, and you can see also the edition and the image plan. Next, what you need to do is you need to confirm that you do not have any backups running. So on the backup monitor, go ahead and check that all of your backups are done and none of the backups are currently active. If there are any backups running, you need to wait till all the backups are completed before you can go any further. Then you need to save your credentials. So go ahead and save your username and your password. This needs to be accessible because we're going to re-enter this root credentials at the time of the configuration when we deploy the new AMI. The next portion is to double check the server settings. Go to the server settings and on the left menu, click on users. Make sure that you save these credentials. Also save if you have identity provider, go ahead and save all of the settings. Double check if you have ever applied any patches, any type of custom configuration that is applicable to you. If you see something here and you're not sure what it is, please reach out to a support team before you perform the upgrade. Then go back to general settings, double check for proxy, make sure this is disabled. And if it is enabled and you do have a proxy, please save the proxy information. You're going to need this on the configuration step. Next is the SSL certificate. So on the top right-hand side, I currently do not have an SSL certificate. I'm using the self-signed, but double check here whether you're using a self-signed certificate or a custom SSL certificate. And if you are using a custom SSL, please have those two files, the .crt and the .key file. We're going to need to re-enter them on the configuration. After I check all of the different items that I need, I'm going to take a backup of my server. This is always a necessary step. If something happens during the upgrade and you need to roll back, this is going to be that lifeline, that backup of your machine, so you can get back up and running as quickly as possible. Keep in mind that this should also have been handled by the CPM data policy. It's a policy that you should have enabled. If you're taking backups of the N2W server, you should have a current policy that backs up the machine itself. But I always like to take a manual snapshot whenever I do upgrades for myself or upgrades with customers, and that's what we're going to do today. To take a full backup of your N2W server data disk, go back to your Azure portal, find your CPM N2W server. On the left menu, go to Settings, then Disk, and you're going to see two disks. The first one is the data volume. We do not need to back that one up. That one is part of the AMI that comes from the marketplace. The one that makes your N2W server special to you is this data disk. So I want to protect it. I'm going to select it and then click Create Snapshot. Here are the different settings. I'm going to deploy my new N2W server version 4.3.1 into a new resource group. So I'm going to create a new resource group. This portion is completely optional, but I like to keep both versions segregated. Then I'm going to give it a name. This is just a pre-upgrade backup. And I want a full backup. I want to make sure that I'm able to create a disk. I'm going to keep the encryption settings as default. Same network settings as default. All of this are going to vary per customer. Please select what's applicable to you and your environment. Next one more time. And now we're going to review and create it. Once your resource is complete, you're going to get the option to go to your resource. So click here, go to resource, and that is going to take you to that snapshot. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to make a disk. And this is the disk that we will use during the upgrade process. On the top right-hand side or left-hand side depending on where you're looking at the dashboard, click here, create disk. You're going to find your subscription, resource group, and I'm going to give it a name. It's going to be a data volume. And I'm going to put the version, which is 4.3.1 at the moment. This is the availability zone of your resource. I'm going to keep it at 5. One thing to note is that you have to make sure you have enough space. We need about 2 gigs of free space. So whether your data volume is 5 gigs, 10 gigs, 100, we do need about 2 of those to be available before we do the upgrade. Right, we're going to create the disk and wait for that to be completed. Now our disk is complete. So the next portion is to deploy the AMI. Where is the N2WS AMI? The N2WS AMI is in the Azure Marketplace. So I'm going to navigate to the Azure Marketplace and I'm going to type N2WS. And once you hit enter, you're going to see the backup and recovery option. Click create and pick out the latest version as of today, that is 4.3.1. But all of the steps to upgrade are the same, no matter what version you're upgrading to. But if you have questions, please reach out to our support team. Now, if you look, this is very important. This is one of the gotchas of the video. You need to pick the right resource group. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to find the data volume that we just created. So go ahead and pick out the resource group. We're going to give the virtual machine a name. It's going to be N2WS 4.3.1, and this is version 1 deployment. US East, this is the zone. You can pick out the option for you. I'm going to deploy in zone 1. It's going to be standard. This is the free trial version. Make sure that this matches what your generation that you want. You can see the other ones here. This is a good instance type for me. A B1 CPU. This is for demo purposes. This is not for production. We do have a sizing guide available. So I'm gonna probably put the link on the video so that you can pick out the best sizes for you. This is for demo purposes. I will not deploy this instance type for production. Next, you're going to fill out the username. The standard and default username is Azure user. This is not the correct one. The correct username is CPM user. So please go ahead and make this change, CPM user, all lowercase. Now go ahead and click next here to go over the disk. This is your root volume. This is not the data volume, so go ahead and select the same settings as your root volume from the previous machine, from the previous VM that you are upgrading. The networking settings are the same. I'm going to use the default configuration, but please make sure that you select the same connectivity that your older, quote unquote, previous machine had. Once you go to the management, it's very important that you select to enable system identity. This is going to allow for an IAM role to be assigned to this machine and is able to perform backups and recoveries and such. This is the same setup as in your previous installation. The monitoring, it's really up to you. I'm going to disable it. This is a demo account. Okay, now for the name, I do want to give a name. So I'm going with N2WS. And again, for 0.31, and this is a version 1 deployment. And I want to tag all of my resources the same. I'm going to click Review and Create. Go over all of the different configuration. And then once it validates the performance and all of the different settings, go ahead and click Create. And we're going to wait. My VM is created. I get this successful message here, and I can click Go to Resource. Now my VM is ready, but I still need to assign it the right permissions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new role that has the latest and updated IAM permissions. Where can I find those permissions? If you go to our website, n2ws.com, and then knowledge base. The first option that you see here is release documentation. This is going to have the release notes as well as the permissions that you need. For the different clouds, we have different links. This is an Azure native deployment. So go ahead and click minimal Azure permissions. And you can download the attachment here to your local computer. After you download the file, go back to your Azure portal, go back to home, and navigate to your subscriptions. Select the subscription where you deployed the VM. On the left menu, click Access Control, and then Custom Role. The easiest way to do this is to import the file. So go ahead and click Start from JSON, browse your local computer, and upload the right file. You're going to see a few versions there. They all depend on what license you have, but the most complete one is Enterprise BYOL. After you select the file, you can use the custom role name, and I always like to add the version behind it. You may have used a similar role name for previous installations, and it's always a good idea to add the version so that you know this is the latest and best permission set that we have. Then we're going to select the permission scope. This is just for you to know what are the different permissions, what is this role actually doing, and what is the access level. Next, we're going to add the subscription. So I'm going to click Add Assignable Scopes. The management group is going to be subscription. So type subscription and then select my subscription that I want to add. I'm going to remove the default one. Click Next one more time. And again, this is just the code. So if you want to review it, and now it's a more concise version of all of the actions that role is performing. And I'm going to click Create. This takes a few minutes. You're going to take a few minutes to see the role displayed across all the services. So this is a good point for a coffee or a water because it does take a few minutes to show under the VM and under your own subscription. If you want to verify that the role was created, again, go to your subscriptions, access control, and then click roles. This type is by default all. So you're going to get all of the different roles in your account. If you want a smaller list, go ahead and filter for custom role, which is what we created, and you should be able to find the new role that you made. This is how you know that in fact it was successful. Okay, now that we've made the role, then we have to assign it to a virtual machine. So we're going to navigate back to virtual machines by clicking Home, Virtual Machine, and then find your latest N2WS deployment. And go ahead and on the left menu, click on Security, Identity, and then Azure Role Assignments. You're looking here for the role that we just made. So click Add Role Assignment. The scope is subscription, the name of your subscription, and now search for the N2WS role. If you do not see it, like I don't see it here, for example, wait a few more minutes, refresh the page, and try again. This is normal behavior. It always takes a little bit of time in Azure for you to see the role propagated across all of the different resources. So I'm going to pause the video and see you in a few minutes. I waited about 3 minutes, refreshed the page, and performed the same steps, and now I can see the role. Again, this is totally normal. Just have some patience. Sometimes Azure can be slow. And click Save. Now, you might not see it here. Again, a couple of minutes, give it some time, but the role was added. So one more refresh, and you should be able to see the role here. Wait until you're able to see it before you go to the next step. If you don't see it here, then your instance is not going to have permissions. So click on Add. If you don't see it at first, it's okay, but wait a few minutes and then you should be able to see the role listed under role assignments. Now we're going back to our instance overview, and then I'm going to copy my IP address and proceed with the next step, which is to configure my virtual machine. Copy the IP address and remember to type HTTPS in front of it. You're going to see this message. This is normal behavior until you apply your custom SSL certificate. Once you click here, you're going to see the configuration wizard. Verify that this is the version that you want to upgrade. As of today is 4.3.1. We're coming up with our next release in a couple of weeks. But again, the steps are the same. Now, what you need to type here is the virtual machine resource ID. This is a very long number and it's located on the left menu. Go ahead and select properties. So settings, properties, and then scroll down a little bit until you see resource ID and copy it. Go ahead and paste and click next one more time. This is our license agreement. Now, what you select for the license, and it depends on your circumstance. If you're starting the free trial, go ahead and leave it as a free trial, but this is an upgrade. So if you're upgrading, then your account is already licensed. You already own a license of N2WS, you're upgrading to a new version. The username here is the same username credentials that you had before. Then click Next. System assigned identity. Next one more time. And now for simplicity, I'm going to leave the time zone as GMT. This is an upgrade, so it's always going to be existing data disk. We're importing your configuration. The force recovery mode, it's no. What this means is that you're going to use it for DR, ransomware, exercises, DR drills. And essentially, if you select yes, it will let you recover data, but not take any active backups. So leave as default for upgrades. The next is proxy. Again, leave as default if you do not have a proxy. Click next one more time, and now you're going to select the data disk that you have. You're going to see all of the different data disks available. I'm going to pick the one that we made out of the snapshots. The default port is 443. And then the SSL certificate files, you can upload them here. I'm going to leave as default for the self-signed and click next one more time. Now, go ahead and fill out your license, your company information, etc. If you do not want to do it now, you can always click here. I don't want to register now, maybe later. And click configure system. Let it load. Do not refresh the page, and I'll see you guys back when it's done. After a few minutes, you're going to see the configuration successful message. It takes another couple of minutes to refresh and then go ahead and log in. When you first log in, you're going to see this loading warning. What this means is that it's activating the license, but the best way to check that you are in fact ready with the latest license is to go all the way to the top where it says question mark and then click about. It takes a few minutes, so I'm going to pause the video and wait and then refresh the page. After you wait a few minutes, you're going to refresh the page and you can see that the dashboard looks significantly fuller. This is a good indication that your license is up and running, but the best way to check is again on the top right-hand side on the question mark, click about, and then that should display the version that you just upgraded to along with your license and server details. Now, the upgrade itself is done at this point. You are upgraded via AMI to the latest release. But what are some things that I always recommend customers that they do right after an upgrade? The first one is check the account permissions. So on the left menu, click on accounts, pick your account, and do a permissions check. If you updated the IAM permissions, the instance role, you want to make sure that this integration is correct. So check the account permission here and wait a few minutes. This is what you're looking for. All permissions granted, big green checkbox. That means that the permissions are okay. The next thing I always do is I go to my policies and I manually trigger a CPM data policy. This step is optional. You don't have to do this. The policies will kick off on their designated schedule, but I always recommend customers that they do a backup of the system right after an upgrade. So go ahead and run ASAP. That way, you have peace of mind that your newly upgraded N2W server is protected. And we're done. Unless you have specific, let's say, identity provider information, proxies, things like that, you don't have to check for anything else. If you do, then top server settings, double check your identity provider, your proxy, and fill out all of the information. If you go back to the dashboard, it's also a good idea to check on the server for a couple of days. You want to make sure that you don't have any alerts. And if you do upgrade and have questions, you always can reach out to our support team. And the link for that is on the top right-hand side on the question mark and then support. I hope that this video has been useful and that you now are a complete expert on how to upgrade via AMI. Thank you so much for watching. I know this has been a very lengthy video, but it has a lot of good details and information that will help you and make sure that this is a seamless AMI upgrade.